We've got a whole cavalcade of right-wing talkers. Here is a moment on Fox News where Tucker Carlson gets out of his comfort zone and decides to criticize Donald Trump. Now, to be honest with you, to be fair to Tucker, this is before Donald had met with the NRA, and he's actually taking what Trump is saying literally instead of seriously here, and that is the problem, of course.
But the shortcomings of this administration are clear. They're usually worth it, though, for two reasons. First, the ideas the president ran on are basically right. America First ought to be the operating principle of every American administration. By definition, it's an American administration. America should be first, but that's not the motto of most administrations, not even hardly. Second, the alternatives to what we have now are scary and getting scarier. The Democratic Party is completely irresponsible and increasingly anti-American. They prefer illegal aliens to our middle class. That's true, and it's terrifying. And someone needs to defend the country from these people.
I mean, to be honest with you, you get those mailers from the Democrats saying, hey, screw you, middle class. We prefer illegal immigrants.
I hate middle class people so much. Where are all the illegal immigrants from Guatemala when you need them?
That's right.
We'll pick up 2 votes from Guatemala for every for every vote we lose in the Philadelphia suburbs. There'll be an undocumented El Salvadoran. That's what I've said my whole career. Screw you, Goldman Sachs. That's what I'll say. A lot of you are afraid of Goldman Sachs, by the way, in a certain sense. But I'm just going to say it.
It's true, because Tucker is being very sincere when he says it. He's saying it's true.
Someone needs to defend the country from these people. Trump mostly does that. So for these reasons, most of the president's supporters have stuck by him no matter what has happened, and a lot has happened. But there's a limit to the tolerance. They will not tolerate, and they shouldn't have to tolerate, by the way, betrayal on the core promises of his campaign. And that seems to be happening on guns, unfortunately. A few days ago, the president called for raising the minimum age for buying a gun to 21. By the way, that's 4 years after we let people join the military. They can join at 17. But he's saying you can't buy a gun until you're 21. Now, nobody's even arguing this will save.
Pause it. Now, I'm trying to think of what the logic is here. We allow 17-year-olds to join the military where they are constantly surveilled. They are under total watchful eye.
Military discipline?
Get specific, a discipline so strong that you could almost call it military. And they are their weapons are checked. They are surveilled and assessed, and they are trained with weapons. And then, absent all of those controls and protections and whatnot, we won't. Can you imagine that we would not let them buy a similar situated weapon until they're 21? That's the argument. That's a very interesting argument.
Here's my argument. No guns for white people, especially if they earn over $80,000 a year, which is the median middle class average, who I hate.
17. But he's saying you can't buy a gun until you're 21. Now, nobody's even arguing this will save actual lives because there's no research that it will. It's propaganda, and it's sneaky propaganda, by the way. It's an incremental step toward more gun restrictions. That's all it is. And then yesterday, the president went even further than that. He met with lawmakers to talk gun control at the White House. At that meeting, he went after Republicans who want to defend the Second Amendment, suggesting they're puppets of the NRA. At one point, the president said the government should, quote, take the guns first, go through due process second. Now, I mean, how honest do you want to be? Imagine if Barack Obama had said that. Just ignore due process and start confiscating guns. Well, Obama would have been denounced as a dictator.
Hold on for 1 second. I want to go back just a little bit. Let me make 2 points clear. One, this is the first time Tucker Carlson, in the year and a half of the Trump administration, has used this construct, right? Because there's a million other things that if Obama had said. But let's also be clear. Let's also be clear. Trump did not say ignore due process and take their guns. Trump thinks you can have due process after you take the guns. He's that dumb. And Tucker doesn't want to.
This is my nephew Jamal. He's going to take care of Mexico, the Middle East, China, and get a bunch of interest-free loans from foreign governments. Yep. Also, I wanted to be my chief of staff, but Tom Hartman talked me out of it.
And
Total bummer.
Malia, she's going to be going around.
As soon as Malia turns 16, we're going to be putting her in charge of the Asia pivot.
Can you imagine?
By the way, if I was a black teenager, I perhaps would be dating Malia.
If Michelle
hot.
if Michelle Obama had an aide that got $26 million from the inaugural fund, they would have been thrown out of the office on January 22nd.
That's some Jaffe Joffer shit right there.
All right, let's go.
We're building a miniature fucking Wakanda, baby.
Now, I mean, how honest do you want to be? Imagine if Barack Obama had said that. Just ignore due process and start confiscating guns. Well, Obama would have been denounced as a dictator. We would have denounced him first. Trust me. Congress should be talking.
They incidentally did denounce him as a dictator, despite the fact that he never
called
said
him a
that.
dictator like every. Do you remember the whole czar thing?
Yes.
Yes, czars.
SARS. Where'd that word come from? Good.
Denounced as a dictator. We would have denounced him first. Trust me. Congress should be talking impeachment right now. Some would be muttering about secession. Well, the media agreed with what the president said yesterday, so they've underplayed it, or they presented it as just a little battle between the president and the NRA. But it's not about the NRA. It's not even about the president. It's about the Constitution. And the Constitution remains the same no matter who's in power. That's the point of the Constitution.
Yeah, it remains the same as in whose power, but just oddly enough, before 2008, it wasn't an individual right. Because that statement, the Constitution remains the same no matter who's in power, is factually incorrect.
Michelle's staying in Chicago. She's a total drag.
We have had multiple occasions where the meaning of the Constitution has effectively changed.
Did you pay off a South African porn star? Nope, fake news. Did the publisher of Essence pay off a South African porn star?
I mean,
that's total fake news in a certain sense. Anyways, my nephew Jamal's got a new initiative.
Just the idea that
the Qataris didn't put up the loan for the new mosque? Well, fuck that. We support the blockade.
I mean, Tucker Carlson has to have the self-awareness that he's just like, he must like go walk off the set and go, can you believe I actually said that without like laughing hysterically?
I have to have self-awareness? Now I have to have self-awareness? You can't criticize Barack Obama. You have to have self-awareness?
Con from a